In the most ambitious crossover since Avengers Infinity War and the most iconic collaboration since Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, SportsLine and LTV News have joined forces. Hello, I'm Siobhan Nolan.
And I'm Tyler Small. Just kidding. I wish I could be that tall, handsome, and charming. I'm Sam Long, though, and you're watching Lasalle TV's home for Explore Athletics, SportsLine.
Welcome to SportsLine. If you thought we had a lot of recaps before, buckle up, because we have 2 weeks worth of sports to catch you up on.
And later, you can't talk about Lasalle track and field without mentioning the Mancini sisters. And we got to sit down with Grace Mancini to talk about her stellar season.
But first, let's take a look at our SportsLine top 3.
Number 1. For LaSalle women's soccer, student athletics have garnered Atlantic 10 Soccer Postseasons awards. The league announced Wednesday afternoon redshirt senior Taylor Newhart, senior Jenna Sororio, and rookies Kelly McGroarty and Jordan Stallard were recognized. Newhart highlighted LaSalle's postseason recognition with the Atlantic 10 second team all-conference honors as one of LaSalle's top defenders. Serrano joined in the back line teammate with the all-academic team. McGroarty finished tied with the team lead with 11 points on 5 goals and 1 assist. Her scoring efforts led the A-10 in game-winning goals. Stellard concluded her rookie season with a 6-2 record in the net for the blue and gold.
Number 2. Men's soccer also collected their share of postseason awards, with junior Amari Cotterell and freshman Junior Nare and Scott Beeks receiving recognition for their seasons. Cotterell, who started all 11 games this season and is tied for being the team's top scorer, secured a spot on the all-conference second team, while Nare, who led the team with 8 points and received back-to-back A-10 Rookie of the Week honors in March, and Beeks, who saw action in 10 games this season, along with being tied for top scorer, picked up all rookie honors.
Number 3. LaSalle University men's track and field seniors Dennis Maye was named Atlantic 10 Conference Field Performer of the Week on Tuesday. Maye won the high jump at Philadelphia's Big 5 meet in Penn's Franklin Field on Saturday. He jumped 2.14 meters to finish first out of 7 competitors. The mark nearly topped his school record of 2.16 meters at the DET at the 2019 NCAA East Region Preliminary Championship. That is the best mark in the Atlantic 10 this season so far, 4 inches higher than the next best. It is Maye's second career Atlantic 10 weekly award.
So a lot of great stuff to talk about, especially soccer receiving their postseason awards. You really have to highlight the freshmen in both the women's and men's teams. Kelly McGroarty, we've talked about her a lot on this show. She's scoring, assisting, making a difference. And then Junior Nare and Scott Beeks for the men. Scott Beeks has been amazing in midfield. He's always the difference maker there. Junior Nare getting a lot of shots on goal, a lot of goals and assists there too. So I think that we're really good with talent for the next 4 years on soccer. I think that we can rely pretty heavily on them.
Yeah, and just circling back to the women's team alone, having 4 postseason awards on one team is just absolutely fantastic.
It's amazing, but nothing that we don't already expect from them.
That's it for our top 3. Now let's see how our teams did in this week's recaps. Baseball had a packed slate of games since the Easter break, as they started with a 4-game set against Penn. The offense would show up for the first 2, as the Explorers outscored the Quakers 36-9. But the doubleheader to finish both went to the Big 5 rival. Then the Blue and Gold took on Copen State for a midweek matchup, where late offense would once again prove to be the difference, as they put up a 9 spot in the 6th inning, winning the game 16-8. Then a 4-game series to open up a 10-play would be hosted at LaSalle against URI. A thrilling comeback win, courtesy of a 3-run shot off the bat by junior catcher Tatum Levins, would give LaSalle the lead in the 8th, and the victory 8-5. After giving up the next 2, they would take the finale with a final score of 7-3. Then, an exhibition against old friend Penn would come for LaSalle as they took their 5th matchup against them, 6-4. Senior Nick DeVitro shined at the plate, winning these series, finishing with a 1.207 OPS, and Colin Kennedy continued to shine in the closer role, recording 2 saves.
Men's soccer spent part of the Easter break up in Rhode Island. Lasalle owned the first half, going up 2-0, but in the second, Rhode Island was able to tie it up and force overtime, where they would top the Explorers 3-2 in the 96th minute. Back in Philadelphia, the Explorers traveled to St. Joe's for a Big Five matchup. The Explorers and the Hawks combined for just 5 shots, leading to a 0-0 draw at halftime. The goals would come late in the game, with junior Nigel Buckley scoring his second goal of the season to put Lasalle up 1-0. Then, with just under 2 minutes remaining, freshman Scott Beeks put a low shot from outside the box behind the St. Joe's goalie to make it 2-0. Cam Hall only had to make 1 save to secure his first win of the season and complete the season sweep of the Hawks. The Explorers then traveled back home for their final game of the season, facing off against UMass. The Explorers outshot the Minutemen in the first half 8-4, but both teams went into the break scoreless. However, UMass bagged a goal in the 57th minute of play, quickly followed by a second goal. In the 60th minute, Nigel Buckley was able to pull one back for LaSalle just over 3 minutes later, but the Explorers unfortunately were defeated 2-1.
The women's soccer team was no doubt seeking revenge when they went up against UMass, who handed them their first loss earlier this season, and they certainly got it. A defensive first half saw the teams go into halftime, tied at 0, but senior Amaya Lucaris drove home a goal from 36 yards in the 51st minute of play. Freshman Giovanna Castriona wasted no time after seeing that, assisting fellow rookie Kelly McGroarty's goal just 5 minutes later. The Minute Women did score a goal of their own, but the Explorers were able to hold on to the lead, coming home with a 2-1 victory. The Explorers would then finish off their season against St. Joe's, where a defensive first half saw the two teams scoreless at halftime, but then the blue and gold received a bit of luck when a corner kick from senior Jenna Sororio was heading into the St. Joe's net by one of their own players, putting LaSalle ahead 1-0. The Explorers were able to hold on to their lead, with freshman Jordan Stallard picking up her 6th win and 4th shutout of the season.
Women's lacrosse was pretty busy last week, playing 2 games in a short span. First up was Duquesne. The teams opened up by trading the first 2 goals, but after that, the Explorers allowed their opponents to go on a 5-0 run and was down 4 before they answered. The Explorers let Duquesne back in the game and would eventually see themselves tied at 10. Senior Allison Hunter opened up the second half with a goal, giving LaSalle the lead. Duquesne would score with 17 minutes remaining, followed by a quiet 10 minutes that would end when Duquesne found the back of the net on 5 of the last 7 goals to beat the Explorers 19-17. Their second goal would see them face off against St. Joe's. Things started off well for LaSalle as they jumped out to a 1-0 lead after senior Allison Hunter scored 3 minutes into the ballgame. A 9-0 run from St. Joe's would make things much harder for a comeback attempt for the Explorers. LaSalle would continue to fight back, going back and forth with goals, and would eventually see themselves down by 10 after the first half ended. Coming out of the halftime break, goals by Allison Hunter and Emily Johnston would put LaSalle down by 8. But St. Joe's would get back on the scorecard by netting 4 consecutive goals. LaSalle would end up losing this game by a score of 19-9.
LIU came to Kirk Poole over Easter break and came with upset in mind. After jumping out to a 4-0 lead, senior Sarah DeFresco cut into the lead, but the Sharks answered right back. Sophomore Sophie Appler put up 2 to end the half 7-3, but despite a better push in the second half, this one would be all LIU, winning 14-10. The following week, the Explorers would welcome back city rival Villanova in a barn burner. After a 4-4 start early, Nova began to section themselves. That was until senior Madison Martinez and junior Madeline Coperer fired back-to-back strikes to make it a 1-goal lead at half. LaSalle took the lead courtesy of Appler and Martinez, which grew to 3 and would then be too much for the Wildcats to come back from. Water polo then improves to 7-3 with a final score of 20-17.
The track team performed at the Big Five meet where 2 Explorers took home titles. First up, senior Dennis Manier won the high jump title, jumping 2.14 meters. Manier was just short of setting a new personal best by 0.02 meters. On the women's side, sophomore Christine Mancini took home the 800-meter title for the blue and gold, running a personal best of 2 minutes and 11 seconds. Mancini was followed by her classmate Sammy Miller, who finished 3rd, and Jenna Webb, who finished 6th. Next up, the Explorers competed locally at the Temple Invite, where the momentum was kept at an all-time high for the women's team. Graduate student Grace Mancini absolutely shattered LaSalle's 5K record to place first out of 15 runners with a time of 15 minutes and 58 seconds. Unfortunately, the men's team didn't snag any titles at this meet. However, junior Chris Lewis was able to make his season debut in the 100-meter dash, where he placed third with a time of 11.1 seconds.
The swimming and diving team took on opening day of the A10 championship and came up just a bit short. The men's team came close to a podium finish after placing fourth in the 800 free relay. Senior Daniel Johnson, junior Zachary Wolbert, and sophomore Alex McCuna finished with a time of 6 minutes and 39 seconds, just 2.7 milliseconds behind St. Bonaventure in total. The men's team scored 58 points to place fifth overall. The women's team finished in a tie for fourth place with St. Louis, UMass, and George Mason, all finishing with a final score of 50 points. The highlight of the day definitely came when junior Sarah Rosetto broke her own 200 freestyle record that she set in the A10s the year prior. Rosetto's record, a split time of 1 minute and 47 seconds.
The softball team took the field for a doubleheader against UPenn this past Saturday. Game 1 got off to a hot start, but not for the Explorers. They gave up a first-inning run on an error after UPenn doubled to center. UPenn hit not one, but 2 RBI singles in the second inning and added 2 more runs to their total. Over the course of 4 innings, Lasalle left 3 runners on base in scoring position. Junior pitcher Sarah Dewala was great on the mound this game, allowing 6 hits over 7 innings while not allowing an earned run to come across home plate. But Lasalle's inadequacies in hitting proved to be the biggest issues in Game 1 as they went on to lose 3-0. Game 2 would be different for the Explorers offensively. The bats showed up, but UPenn was up to the task as well. UPenn jumped out to a 1-0 lead just like last game. The Explorers struck in the third, scoring 5 runs to take a 5-1 lead, and singles by Maddie Little and Mia Racinella would tie the game, but the big blow would come from Victoria Zatko as she hit a grand slam to left field. LaSalle would face the same situation later in the game, but wouldn't be able to bring runs across the board. In the middle innings, UPenn took control of the game and never looked back, scoring 4 in the 5th inning, 2 in the 6th inning, and 1 more run in the 7th inning to take an 8-5 lead and take the victory, sweeping the doubleheader on Saturday afternoon.
Field hockey went up against St. Joe's for a good old Big Five matchup, but they got off to a less than ideal start as the Hawks scored less than a minute into the game. They would lead 4-0 after the first quarter, despite LaSalle finding the back of the net in the 20th minute. Thanks to Ray Allen's goal of the season, the Explorers would end the game with a 6-1 loss. An away game at UMass would follow 3 days later, with LaSalle drawing first blood off a goal from sophomore Natalie Balunas. However, this would be their only goal of the game, and the Explorers would fall to the Minutemen with a score of 4-1.
The men's golf team competed at the Wildcat Invitational and were able to jump up 1 spot on the leaderboard to finish 14th overall with a 2-day score of 600 over 40. In round 2, the Explorers tallied a 298 over 18 to shave 4 strokes off their first round. The blue and gold fell 2 strokes short of finishing in 12th place. Senior David Kim slipped 6 spots after scoring a 74 over 4 on day 2 for a final score of 145 over 5. Fellow senior Ron Fishang improved 16 slots during the weekend, finishing overall with a 153 over 13. The women's team took 4th place at the Bucknell Invitational after competing the second round with a 347 over 67 for a total score of 686 over 126. Freshman Kaylee Zeman led the blue and gold after adding an 85 over 15 in round 2 and finishing tied for 11th place with a total score of 164 over 24. Fellow rookie Libby Gillian and stayed consistent on the green after scoring her second straight 93 over 23 to total a score of 186 over 49.
For the men and women's rowing team, new head coach Jeff Galbut was finally able to make his coaching debut for the blue and gold. At the Murphy Cup Regatta, a total of 5 boats took to the Schuylkill River. The men's first, varsity 8 team finished 4th with a time of 5 minutes and 57 seconds. The women's first varsity 8 also finished 4th with a time of 7 minutes and 5 seconds. Things didn't look too much brighter for the women's Novice 8 as they dropped their competition against Drexel. The blue and gold seeks redemption this weekend as they compete at the Jesuit Invitational at the home again on Schuylkill River.
So a lot of recaps there, as usual, but I really want to highlight first the men's and women's soccer teams. Even though they didn't qualify for our A10 postseason, they still did really well on the season. Men were 5-1, women were 7-2, so very respectable scores. But we also have to talk about how baseball has been on a tear. They have been really heating it up these past few games. The results against Penn were absolutely amazing. 22-2 was one of them. we just have so many different players on that team, especially with the pitching. You have Frank Ellisalt, Colin Scanlon, Colin Kennedy. You just have so many defensive players that make the difference, and then the bats are heating up as well.
Yeah.
And it just combines to make a really great baseball team.
Yeah, I mean, even looking back at women's soccer, like you said, watching a team go on a 7-2 run, that just really leaves you wanting to see any kind of postseason attempt. I mean, with their phenomenal goalkeeping this year, we just really wanted to see any kind of postseason action from the women's soccer team.
Yeah.
And it's really upsetting that even with a record of 7-2, they're not able to pull it off.
But, they have great freshmen, and I think that we'll definitely be able to see more postseason action from them next year. And then the men's team as well, they have plenty of freshman talent, and we can only bring in more. And then for the track team never really disappoints. Grace Mancini's record-breaking 5K, which we will talk about later in an interview with her. That was very impressive as well. But like I said, track team never really disappoints. They always are consistent and do very well.
Absolutely, and we can't talk without mentioning the swimming team.
Yeah.
Sorry, stuttered for a second. Just breaking their own records out there. I mean, things are only going up for the Explorers.
It seems like every meet, they're breaking their own records. They're breaking a school record. It's crazy, it is. But that's it for recaps. And when we come back, she's a runner, she's a track star. Grace Mancini recaps her incredible performances this season and what lies ahead for our track team. Stay tuned.
Americans are the most generous people on the planet. Helping others is ingrained in our spirit. It's who we are. When there's pain in the world, Americans respond. Our impact reaches far and wide. By giving, we can inspire hope when all hope has been lost and make the world a better place.
Support the Global Emergency Response Coalition by going to globalemergencyresponse.org today.
We are there, day one, with baby names and a gift that lasts a lifetime. We are there as you grow, protecting you and those you love. And we are there as you start your next chapter. We are with you through life's journey. We are Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. Get to know us at socialsecurity.gov.
This video produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Welcome back. Sorry about Siobhan's joke about Grace Mancini, but she has been a central figure for the Explorers track and field squad, and she gives us more insight on her record-breaking season. Check it out.
Hello, welcome back to On The Sidelines. I'm Siobhan Nolan, and I'm here with track and field's Grace Mancini. So, Grace, you recently broke the school record for the 5,000 meter, obviously very impressive feat. So can you take us through that whole day at the Temple Invitational and just how you felt leading up to that race?
Sure. So it was an exciting meet. It was at home in Philadelphia, which was kind of fun. So the meet started off really well. A few of my teammates ran before me in a few different races, and they ran really well. So that was a little inspiring to me. I was excited going into my race. And then me and Tom had talked about a little bit of a race plan where we were going to hit a certain pace in the beginning of the race. So the race went off from the beginning and everything went well. I hit the pace. I took a turn pacing. And then me and Tom had talked about with like 6 laps to like 4 laps to go, if I felt good, I could start knocking down the pace a little bit and going a little quicker. And with 6 laps to go, I was feeling pretty good. So I decided to pick up the pace a little bit. And for the rest of the race, I kind of just ran with everything I had left in me. And, I could hear them announcing it while I was running that like I was close to breaking 16 minutes. And I knew that it was going to be a really big PR for me. So I kind of carried that momentum through to propel me to a good time.
Yeah, definitely super impressive. And this isn't even the first record that you've broken this year, which is even more amazing. You broke the record for the 3,000 meters as well. So with all of that excellence that you've gotten in your races just for this season, just how high of a performance standard do you set for yourself to get results like that?
So obviously, this is my last season here at Lasalle, and I've loved running here for the last 5 years. So I really wanted to have a really good final season, represent my school and my teammates, and even myself, all the hard work I've put in. So I've kind of held myself to a high performance standard this season. But that really means that I just want to go out there and do my best and see what I'm capable of. So just racing hard, racing with my whole heart, to, see what I'm really capable of before I'm done.
Yeah, and I feel like I always see you and your sisters running on campus. Like I'll be going down to the gym and I'll see you guys in the parking lot. So obviously you put in a lot of practice, a lot of preparation. So can you just kind of take us more in depth into how you prepare for all of these meets?
Mm-hmm. So I'm really lucky. I do have my 3 sisters who are on the team with me, who I train with pretty frequently. And they're really good runners. So it's really nice. I'm really lucky to have them as training partners. Even throughout the last 10 months when we were at home, it was really nice that I had them to train with. So I'm really lucky. But yeah, me and all my teammates, we work hard every day. We go out, we run our miles. And I think we've really worked hard, and that's kind of been a little bit of the inspiration to have a good last season. I know that I'm in a really good position because I've trained really hard with the girls around me, which has kind of set me up for the success I'm having right now.
Yeah, and speaking of your sisters, we have a bit of a Mancini dynasty at LaSalle right now. We have you, we have Elle and Liz and Christine. So, what is it like to just be able to compete with your sisters and be able to see them do well? Because like you said, they're amazing runners as well.
Mm-hmm. It's really exciting, and it's honestly really inspiring for me. So actually both times I broke the record in the 3K and the 5K, my sisters were in the race with me. And that's something that's really, really special to me. And it makes those moments even more special because I have my sisters by my side, and all 3 of them are running absolutely phenomenal this season, which is, again, it's inspiring for me, and it helps me run faster because I'm practicing with them every day and they're running quick. So then I'm running quick. So again, I'm really lucky to have them, and they're very good runners, and they push me to be my best.
Yeah, is there any sibling rivalry going on there? Are you guys really supportive of each other?
We're definitely competitive, but I would say we're competitive in a very supportive way. We're all really happy for each other. We all want what's best for each other. So, and that kind of works out well, that what's best for one of us is best for all of us.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And another really admirable aspect of your presence here at LaSalle is your academic performance. You majored computer science and mathematics. You earned Female Scholar Athlete of the Year last year, and you performed really well consistently in all of these races. So how do you just balance that all, and how do you kind of stay on top of all of that at once?
So something that is actually kind of like a common denominator in both academic and athletics is, putting in hard work consistently. So I think, being able to work hard in track has helped me, it's the same values of that. I have to work hard in academics too, and put in the time and effort to succeed. And I have put in a lot of time and effort into succeeding in academics. That's something that's really important to me as well. So I think that, that hard work is something that can carry into both of the 2, academics and athletics.
Yeah, absolutely. And we still have plenty of running for you to do this season. You still have a lot of meets. So what is one goal or goals that you have before you finish out your season here?
I have a bunch of different goals for this season. A lot of them are different than others, but the one goal is, it is my last season here. I've had a really good time over my last 5 years at LaSalle. So kind of enjoying every moment, every opportunity I get. I want to run for the rest of my season. I want to race as hard as I can, and, really enjoy the moments I have. So that's kind of one goal I have, but I have some other time goals, and, I would like to perform well at A10s. I would like to perform well at the NCAA regional meet. So I do have some pretty big goals, and I guess we'll see how they go this season.
Yeah, and of course, best of luck to you in all those. And another great thing that we see in this track team is there's a lot of young underclassmen talent that is really doing well in these races. So is there anyone that you want to highlight in particular that you think is really going to make an impact on this team?
If I could highlight every girl on this team, I would. I think they are a really young group of girls, and what's really special about them is that they're a really hardworking group of girls. And I think that the success we've seen so far with them during cross country and in track is only a small portion of what you're going to see from them over the next 4 years. My 3 sisters, the distance girls and even the, mid distance and sprinters, they really put in the work. And I think that we're going to see really big things from them this season. I won't call out anyone specific because they're all really special girls, and they all bring their own talents and, to the team.
Yeah, and speaking of talent on the team, I mean, you're obviously one of the team's biggest stars. So what do you think has been your biggest strength and the thing that's kind of set you apart as this just really amazing, hardworking track runner?
What I was going to say is I've been, I think what kind of sets me apart is that I've been a consistent hard worker. I came in freshman year and I knew that if I wanted to be good at the collegiate level, that I was going to have to work really hard for it. So over the last 5 years, I've really put in the work, and I think that's shown in the progression that I've made over the last 5 years. And hard work isn't something you can do once a week or once a month. I put in that hard work every day, and I think that that's something that has really helped shape me into the runner that I am today.
Yeah, and something that I really thought was interesting is, you definitely have the caliber of this just top tier runner. And I'm sure that, coming out of high school, you had your pick of schools to run at. So why did you choose Lasalle to run?
So it's kind of a funny story, actually. I'll give you a brief version of it. My dad was traveling for work and he ran into a student at the airport who was on the Lasalle track team. And he started talking to her as they were in line at customs, and she raved about the program here. So my dad came home from the trip and he was like, Grace, I think you should look into Lasalle. So long story short, I came on a visit here and I met with the coaching staff, Tom in particular, and I toured the school. I met with academic professors, and I knew on that visit that I loved the school. I loved the program. I thought Tom was going to be a great coach and a perfect fit for me. And from an academic standpoint, it was I was really excited to be a student here at Lasalle. I thought that I was going to be able to achieve all my academic goals as well, and that Lasalle was really going to put me on the path for success. So it seemed like a perfect fit. And honestly, 5 years later, I'm really, really glad I made the decision to come to Lasalle. I don't think I could have made a better decision.
Yeah, and we're very glad that you're here too. So honestly, best of luck to you the rest of this season. We do hope that you do well, you succeed. Sure, you do great. Maybe break some more records, who knows? So thank you so much for doing this, and I will send it back to the desk.
That just about wraps it up for us this week. If you can't make it out to see the Explorer Report, be sure to tune in next week for our coverage. Keep up with this weekend's other sporting events by visiting goexplorers.com or check out this week's edition of The Collegian.
Also, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/LaSalleTV, on Twitter, and SportsLine-LTV. We welcome you to send your thoughts and suggestions here. And this week's poll, which show is better, LTV News or SportsLine? LTV News.
It's definitely SportsLine.
By a mile.
No, it's SportsLine. But for Isaiah and our entire SportsLine team, I'm Siobhan Nolan.
And I'm Sam Long. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you at the game.